everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. This is me, Nicky Sinha, your history educator. A very warm welcome to the class. I really hope that you guys are doing well. Alright, so in one of the lectures, I had discussed with you some of the officials of the Delhi Sultanate, administrative officials of the Delhi Sultanate who were working at the center, right? Now, there were officials who were working at the province and at the state level as well. And that is what we will continue to look at today. Alright, so these are the officials who were working in the Delhi Sultanate at the provincial level. Okay, so again, I'm going to tell you the important ones that you must remember because you are bound to get questions from here because this is all about administration. Okay, the first one is Amir. And he is the governor. Okay. So what is he? He is the governor. Mukti or Wali. He is responsible for law and order and collection of taxes in their iqtas. Now, iqta is a system which was introduced in the Delhi Sultanate. Now, this was a method of, you can say, revenue collection. Very similar to, you can say, Mansabdari or the Amar Nayak system. We will have a discussion regarding this as well. But today, let's focus on this per se, Mukti and Wali. Okay. Then we have Nazir or Waquf. So, the Nazir or Waquf was basically responsible for collecting revenue in their provinces. Okay. Alright. So, now you all know that generally, the division of the state is something like this. You have the state, as in you have the center, then you have the state, then you have the provinces, right? So, at each and every level, there are officers who are responsible maybe for a work which is similar, right? But it's just that the level at which they work, it keeps on changing, isn't it? The level, or you can say the amount of work or the area in which they are working will either get smaller or bigger. Fine. So, what do we have here? We have Nazir or Waquf. They are responsible for collecting revenue in the province. Then we have Sahib-e-Diwan, maintained accounts of the province and sent them to the central administration. Now, this is very important. Now, each of these officers need to be connected with each other because at each level, these officers are doing their work and ultimately it is to go where? Ultimately, it is to go at the level of the center, right? Ultimately, it has to go at the level of the center. So, this is what we see. We see Sahib-e-Diwan, they were maintaining accounts of the provinces, right? Whatever revenue they have collected, whatever expenditure was done, and then they would be sending it to the central administration so that they could enter it in their account books. Fine. Then we have Sheikhdar. He is the officer in charge of land measuring a sheikh. So, who's the Sheikhdar? See, before you fix the revenue, you have to measure the land, isn't it? Otherwise, you can't fix the revenue. So, this is what a Sheikhdar does. They measure the land, alright, so that a particular revenue could be fixed. Okay. Now, these are the officers who are at the state level, alright. So, we have Amil. He is the revenue officer. He is responsible for a lot of things, not just revenue collection, but also he is responsible for assessing the revenue. That is very important, right? He is responsible for assessing the revenue, and then he will have a number of officials working under him who would be responsible for revenue collection from the various provinces, all right? But this is, he is working at what level? He is working at the level of the state. Okay. Then we have Bareed. Bareed are intelligence agents. So, what are Bareeds? Bareeds are basically the part of the espionage system, alright, or basically they are Guptchar as it is called in Hindi. So, they are people who are all around the empire, right, and they are supposed to give information to the king regarding anything, if anything is going bad, or if any conspiracy is happening, how the officials are working, are they taking bribes. So these people obviously would not be known by the common people, so they would be everywhere serving as the eyes and ears of the king, and all the information then would be sent to the king. Khwaja. Now he is the accounts officer. All right. What do you mean by accounts officer? So he is going to take a look at all the accounts at the state level, the income, the expenditure, the credit, the debit, where has it been spent, how much has it been spent, was it necessary, was it not necessary, how to move the funds, everything. Okay. Then we have Kotwal. All right. Kotwal is the head of city law and order. So Kotwal is a term which is still very much in use, particularly in small places. Thana Kotwal. So Kotwal is still very much in use. So Kotwal was like the head of the police. All right. And they were responsible for what? They were responsible for maintaining law and order in the empire. Now obviously law and order not just in the empire but at the state level here. And they would have again a lot of people working under them, a lot of police working under them who would then be responsible for maintaining that peace. All right. Okay. Then we have Muhatasib. Okay. Now who is a Muhatasib? Muhatasib is the head of municipality, law and order. What do you mean by head of municipality, law and order? Who is going to clean the roads? Who is going to provide, proper municipal amenities, right? You have to have clean water. I'm talking about from today's perspective, right? At that point of time also municipal law and order was definitely required, isn't it? People have always been the same, be it any century. So yes, municipal law and order was definitely required. And who was the head of it? It was Muhatasib. He was the head of the municipality law and order. Fine. And lastly, we have the muftis. They are the expounder of the law. Muftis means, so muftis are people who are aware of the law. They understand the law, right? They're like lawyers, you can say, in today's world. So they understand the law, and they are basically, people who can explain the law to you, right? This is the law, this is where you're going wrong, this is something you could do. Okay? So muftis kaun hai? Who are muftis? Muftis are expounder. In the sense, these are people who explain law and order to you. Alright. So these are the officials who are working in the Delhi Sultanate at the province and at the central level. Now, you all know that there are a number of officials that you must remember. But it is important that you remember these names. It is important that you remember these roles and responsibilities and the level at which they are working, because from Unit 4 is all about dynasties, right? And Unit 4 is also all about political history. So this is what you get from here. These are the type of questions you can expect, right? So I'm sure if you've seen your previous year's paper, you would know that they ask such questions. And who was the revenue collector? Who was the revenue record keeper? Isn't it? So it is important that we know such things. Okay. Now here I'm just going to mark a few important ones which you must remember. So at the state level, Amir, Mukti and Wali, alright, and Sheikhdar. These are very important and you can expect questions from here. But I am saying very important doesn't mean that you only remember this. There are others also that you must remember, right? But try to remember at least these. These are very, very important. Then at the province level, again remember Amil, Barid, Kotwal, Muftis. Okay, these are very important. Why am I saying these are important? Because questions have been asked on them. We will be discussing the previous year's question as well, and you will see that questions have been asked from here. So definitely they are important. Okay. So if you could just take a look at the important ones here. So Amir is the governor, Mukti is responsible for law and order and collection of taxes in the Iktas. Shikdar, they are responsible for measuring the land. Then Bareed, they are intelligence, we have Amil, they are revenue officer, Bareed, intelligence agents, alright. Kotwal is the head of city law and order, right. And Muftis are expounder or someone who can explain the law, someone who has knowledge of law. So like lawyers, right, who can explain you what the law is, what is happening, how is it happening, everything, okay. So these were your officials who worked in the administrative setup of the Delhi Sultanate at the level of center, state and at the level of provinces. I really hope that you have understood each of these officers. You know their roles and responsibilities. I know it's a bit difficult to learn, but there is no choice because you are bound to get questions from here as well, right? So we have to be prepared. I really hope that you've understood this. I really hope that you have no doubts. If you have doubts, if there's any confusion, any explanation that you need, please feel free to address them in the comment section, alright? And also guys, I just want to point out one thing, that our content is available in Hindi and English both, right? So if you want to refer to Hindi videos, you can refer to the faculty of the Hindi who teaches in Hindi, and then there are English as well. So our content is available in both Hindi and English, so you can choose according to your needs, alright? Okay, so thank you so much for joining me here. Please, if you have any doubts, address them in the comment section and I will definitely take it up. So thank you so much for coming here. It was an absolute pleasure to have you all. This is me, Nicky Sinha, signing off. Till then, please take care. Thank you.